Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing 5 things you need to do before you go on a track day. Tomorrow I am taking my Peugeot 208 GTI by Peugeot Sport on track. So first thing in the morning we're going to be heading off to Castle Combe. Now before we do go, as I said, there are some things I need to remember, otherwise I might not even make it to track. So let's turn the camera around and I'll tell you what we got to do first. Now the first one might not apply to everyone, but I'm sure it's going to apply to at least some of us, myself included, and that is we need to decide where the tyres are going to go on the car. Now I've recently bought this car and I want to set a baseline time at Castle Combe so I know roughly what I'm working with. Now I was adamant I'm not doing any mods, performance enhancing mods, before we go on the track. So the tyres that are on the car are the tyres we're running with for tomorrow. Now if I look at the wheels, we'll see that the car has actually got budget tyres on the front, and on the rear, although this car's 6 or 7 years old, it's so low mileage, it's actually got the original tyres on the back. Now these rear tyres are Michelin Pilot Sports, or Pilot Super Sports then, they're like Pilot Sport 3 type performance. And then on the front, we just got flat out budget tyres. Now that's going to be getting upgraded, second set of wheels and semi-slicks. But in the meantime, I need to decide, do I want a car that's going to oversteer a bit more by putting the grippier tyres on the front, or do I want a car that's going to understeer by putting the grippier tyres on the back or leaving it as it is? I'm going to actually put the Super Sports on the front and these budget tyres then on the back. This thing is a factory attempt at brake ducts, which is not something I've ever seen on a car. There we have the little vent there, which would obviously push air then straight into the brake. But if we look here, so under the car, we can see like a little mini diffuser type thing. Now, I'm no aerodynamics expert, but it looks like that would create a low pressure point with it and suck all the air into that brake. So it looks like it does get quite a lot of airflow there. Now, I would have probably done a bolt check anyway. On this car it's 100 Newton meters. So the tyres have been swapped around. We've got the nice grippy Michelins on the front and the less grippy tyres on the back. Now we're going to set the tyre pressure, so that's the second thing you want to do. Now if you're running semi-slicks, you'll know that the tyre pressures change massively with heat. On road tyres, it's not so much of an issue. I'm going to set this to 31 psi on the front tyres, 29 on the back, which is the factory recommended pressure. You can tweak the pressures slightly if you want to affect the handling of the car. And I'll be doing that with this. It's a Ryobi tyre pressure thing, and it's actually really good. I think it's only about 20 quid and it goes into your existing lithium battery. and it lets you set the pressures then, so you don't even have to plug it into the car. Now in a future video, I'm going to show you how to install a tyre pressure monitoring system, which is really good, especially if you're going on track, because you can monitor live data from the tyres. I have actually got it, but I haven't got around to fitting it before this track day. So we're just going to do it the old-fashioned way for now. Okay, so that's now at 31. Now, because we are making do with the tyres on the car for the first day, I think, you know what, I might actually drop the rears just a PSI or two, just to even it out a bit. It's going to just help them grip a bit more. And we don't want it overly slippy on the back. So we'll go to the back tyres now. I set them to about, it's supposed to be 29. I think I'm going to run them at 27. So point one, the tyres were sorted. Now point two, we've got the pressures sorted, and we've made a bit of allowance as well for the budgets on the back. So I dropped the PSI just 2 off the recommended pressure. So hopefully give us a little bit more rear end grip than what those tyres would otherwise have provided. Now point three, we're going to pop the bonnet for this one. So point three on your checklist before hitting the track day, that is check your fluid levels. Now obviously the first and most important fluid to check is your oil. So use your dipstick, check the oil level, make sure it's on the max line, the G-forces on track, the oil can slosh around in the engine, and if it's medium or low, it might be fine on the road, but on a track day, you could actually run into serious issues. So I'm just going to check my oil level. I double checked, I didn't get a clear reading the first time, but it's on the max line, which is perfect. Okay, and then obviously we've got our engine coolant over here. That, as you can see, it's the max line is right there under my finger, and the level is already spot on. Coming over here, we've got to check the brake fluid next. It's a little harder to test because the fluids, it's all been freshly done. It's had a full service just before I bought it. But if I wiggle that, I can see a very faint line of fluid inside, and it's right on the max line. So no problems with the brake fluid. And if you really wanted to, you could check your washer fluid, but I know there's washer fluid in there, so I'm not going to check that now. Okay, so the tyres are sorted, the pressures are sorted, and we know our fluids are all topped up and ready to go. Now on to point four, but before we do that, let's just shut the bonnet. Okay, now this one could seem obvious, but if you're a newbie, you might not realise you need all these things. Absolutely essential, you need a helmet. You cannot get on the track without a helmet unless you're at the Nürburgring. Secondly, you need proof of driver's license. If you forget that, your day's going to be cut really short. So pack it up, tick it off your list, do it the night before. And then thirdly, now this one depends on the track, you need to have a long sleeve shirt on. Now if you turn up in a t-shirt, I don't know why, some track organisers put it in the thing, in the terms and conditions, if you haven't got a long sleeve shirt on, they won't let you on the track. Now, often you can get away with a t-shirt, but always pack a jumper or a jacket, just in case. I think the rule originates from open-top cars. Not that a hoodie's going to do a lot if you roll an MX-5, but I think that's where it does come from. So I like to just carry one, just in case. Now, on to our fifth and final point, but let's turn around and look at the car for that. Now the fifth and final point, you might think, oh that's obvious, what's he on about? But hear me out, that is fuel. I'm actually sat on my jerry can, and it's always handy to take a jerry can with you on a track day. Let me give you a couple of examples why you need to consider your fuel in advance. I went to Castle Combe in the Evo, it burned through a whole tank of fuel in about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. no exaggeration. I had a jerry can, I put that in the car, got a bit carried away on track, come off when the fuel light was on, and turned out there was, I think, either it wasn't working or there was no petrol station on site, so I had to go and find one, and it was a lot further than I would have liked to push that fuel level, put it that way. Now if that had been Landau, for example, Landau circuit, I do a lot of work around there. If I had done the same thing there, I would have run out of fuel because there's no petrol stations for quite some time around there, probably at least 15-20 minute drive. So if I'd let it get that low, it would have ruined my day. So something to bear in mind. Also, I'm going to be running V-Power. The reason for that, on a track, your intake temps are going to be high, and you don't really want your car detonating and then your ECU pulling power. So by putting the V-Power in, my car is going to be less likely to cut the power due to it getting too hot or things like that. So I hope you found that helpful. It is a basic guide. We could go on forever about all the things you need to bring. You could bring a trailer, a van, a mobile toolkit, hire a mechanic for the day. You could do all these things, and a lot of people do. But if you do those 5 basic things, you should be able to enjoy your first track day, and yeah, go out, have fun and be safe. Cheers guys.